Thankfulness can be hard to come by. Circumstances, brokenness, frustration, all get in the way. It can be difficult to see God through the fog. You want to stand firm, knowing God is in control. But you look around and you see chaos. How do you give thanks in such a moment? The truth is, life isn't easy. There are challenges. There's pain. There's heartache. Even though our landscape may change, we serve a God who never changes. When we're in our darkest moment, God promised to never leave us or forsake us. When our faith is shaken to its core, our God remains faithful. The world will ebb and flow. This is certain. But when we run with endurance the race set before us, and we fix our eyes on Jesus, we find thanksgiving.
The truth is, life ain't easy, and it's never easy. And sometimes it's so hard to celebrate Thanksgiving because of the current situation you are in today. We have challenges, we have problems, we have heartaches, we have battles to fight, we have pain, and some people don't really have any reasons to celebrate Thanksgiving today. Some may be okay, but with some reservations because of their considering the current situation. On a broader scale, it's so hard to celebrate Thanksgiving because of the inflation, price hikes, and all the chaos that's going on in the world today. The war in the Middle East, the politics here and there, the problem that we have here, and all other stuff that's going on in the world today. On a personal level, some are struggling to celebrate Thanksgiving because of some personal reasons. Maybe that's you today. It's so hard for you to celebrate Thanksgiving, and you ask a question or just give a statement, I find it hard to celebrate Thanksgiving because of my current situation. There's a conflict in the family. There's an ongoing conflict in the family, and we are not really in good terms. We have some financial difficulties to pay for our debts, some loss of jobs, and the rising of essential needs that we have, and it's so hard to celebrate Thanksgiving. We have some illnesses and sickness experiencing among our loved ones and our friends, and it's so hard to celebrate Thanksgiving. Some of you probably experiencing sadness, anxiety, depression, or rejection in the family, or in your friends, in your circle of influence. Some of you are experiencing guilt, shame, and unforgiveness within you. And that's why it's so hard for you to experience Thanksgiving. A couple of weeks ago, one of our brethren here had an accident. And I thought it's just an accident, but it's a serious one. His name is King, and I have the permission to share his story. King and Ellen are from the life group of Ate Cora and Kuya June, and Kuya Ferdy and Ate Lily. King was working at the warehouse that one afternoon when he was supposed to go home in an hour when he got hit by a forklift. He was standing in the forklift, for some reason, probably the driver didn't know how to operate the forklift, hit him and stuck him in a warehouse rail. So if this is a warehouse rail, he was hit by a forklift. And it was a serious accident. He was stuck there for almost 10 minutes. The EMS came for about 30 to 40 minutes. And he went through a major operation because of a dislocated hip. And some of you would say, he'll be fine, it's okay. That's what I thought too. I know he will be fine. It's probably not a serious one, but when I went there at a hospital, it's pretty serious. And not only that, I know he'll be fine. But the hard thing is, Ellen, the wife, is with a student permit. She can only work 20 hours a week. King is the one that's supplying and providing for the family who works full-time. Now that King had an accident and couldn't even sit, couldn't even stand and walk, Where would they get the money to survive? And not to mention, they have 2 kids, ages 9 years old and 12 years old. Who would care for them? If Ellen would go to school and visit King, and who would take care of these kids? How? I can't find the reason to celebrate Thanksgiving given the current situation. Then a couple of Sundays ago after service, Ron and I planned to visit King and Ellen. I chose to call first before going there because King just had his operation and he might be taking a rest. So I called Ellen. And I said, Ellen, we're talking, hey, Paz, what happened here again? Then I said, how are you? And she said, I don't know, Paz. I have school, I have work, I have 2 kids to take care. Understandably, they were discouraged and confused. What are the next steps to take? Understandably, that's a very valid reason. So hard. That is so hard to celebrate Thanksgiving. We prayed, and I promised to visit them the following day since King is already sleeping that day. And then we visited them, but I will go back to that story later at the end of my message. And I will tell you, there is power in Thanksgiving. But for the meantime, let me talk about Paul. Okay? Now, probably some of you, later na si Paul. Or probably some of you can't relate to the situation of King and Ellen. Because everything seems okay with your life today. I'm happy for you and I celebrate with you. I encourage you to keep thanking God so that you will experience the power of Thanksgiving. But for some of you who may be like Ellen and King, or know someone like Ellen and King, you find it hard to celebrate Thanksgiving because of your current situation. Whatever relational, whatever financial, emotional, mental, psychological reasons that you have, I pray that at the end of this message, you will experience the power of Thanksgiving. Now, let me talk about, there you go, Paul. On the second missionary journey of Paul, Timothy and Silas joined him to move around Macedonia. He went to travel to Macedonia, Phrygia, Galatia, and then to Philippi, where they planted a church called Philippians. That's the book of Philippians. While they were there in Philippi, they met a woman named Lydia, and it's the first convert in Philippi. And Lydia is one of the founding members of the church in Philippi, and she became to be a follower of Jesus. While they were engaging the people in the synagogue, in the public place in Philippi, there is this one demon-possessed girl who keeps on following Paul, Silas, and the rest of the team. And he has this divination power by fortune-telling the future. And that girl kept on following Paul and shouting and screaming, these men are servants of God and they are proclaiming to you the way to salvation. And it was just so annoying that while Paul and Silas keep on talking to people, these girls keeps on following them. These men are from God and they will proclaim to you the salvation to people. They keep following that, and that happened for several days. And then one day, Paul was so fed up and had enough of this little girl, and Paul stopped and looked at the back, and then he said to this little girl, in the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to come out to her. Come out of her. And the demon left. The spirit left the girl. The girl's handler was so mad because that's his business. He lost his some of business income, and then some of the people in the crowd seized Paul. The crowd joined in the riot and beat up Paul with a rod and drag him to the marketplace to show him to the authority that Paul, Silas, Timothy, and the rest of the team are just destroying or distracting the peace and order of Philippi. So the authorities, to avoid all chaos, they dragged Paul into the prison. Paul was doing what God wanted him to do, to proclaim the good news. Yet, he experienced that problem. But this is what happened. About midnight, Paul, Silas was there, chained inside the prison cell. About midnight, they were probably so weak because they've been beaten by the crowd. There's chaos with a rod. And yet they're probably so hungry. And they're staying there inside the prison cell. But this is the power of thanksgiving. Paul and Silas were praying and singing praises to God. Singing praises to God. Praises is a form of thanksgiving for what God has done for your life. Singing praises of thanksgiving is acknowledging the involvement of God in your life. And it doesn't make sense. Well, Paul, you just get beaten by this crowd, by these people. You're just doing the work of the Lord, and these people beat you up, and then now you are singing praises to God. And look what happened. While the other prisoners listened, suddenly a strong earthquake shook the jail to its foundation. The doors opened and the chains fell from all prisoners. And they left. I don't know what prison cell of life you are in today. It could be a prison of debts, a prison of conflict, a prison of sickness, prison of anxiety, or whatever prison cell you're in today. Just keep thanking God, and just like Paul, God will open the door for you and break the chain for you to set you free. That is the power of thanksgiving. What is our message again? There is let me talk about Jonah. You know the story about Jonah. God commanded Jonah to go to the land of Nineveh. Nineveh is around Baghdad, Iraq. And the people there are really so violent. They will eat you alive there. And that's why Jonah got scared and he doesn't want to obey God. And he went the other way. Upon sailing, the God sent a storm. And then they decided to throw Jonah off the boat. And while off the boat, a big fish swallowed Jonah. A huge fish swallowed Jonah. And while inside the fish, you know the story, Jonah prayed to God. Inside the fish. And some people don't believe this, but I'm telling you, this is true. This is true. And Jesus testified to this, and that's why it's true. While he was inside the fish, probably so lonely and alone, this is what happened. He said in the later part of his prayer, he said, I will sacrifice to you with songs of thanksgiving. Are you kidding me, Jonah? There was a storm. You almost died. And now you're inside the fish, and then you're proclaiming to God the songs of thanksgiving. And he said, I will keep my vow. I'll keep my promise this time, Lord, and I will go back. I will go to Nineveh and proclaim that you are real and they should worship you. Victory, salvation belongs to the Lord. And what happened next? Then the Lord spoke to the fish and it spits Jonah out into the shore. Just because Jonah thanked the Lord. I don't know what kind of huge fish swallowed you or swallowing you this very moment. It could be the fish of loneliness. It could be the fish of work-related stress, or your boss or co-worker is trying to swallow you. I don't know. But just keep thanking God. And just like Jonah, he will command the fish to spit you out, to set you free on the shore. What is our message again? There is. Good job. Let me talk about Daniel. You know the story again. Right? Just like Jonah, there's a famous Sunday school story. Israel was captured by Babylonians. They were taken all the way exiled to Babylon, and Daniel was one of the people exiled to Babylon. While in Babylon, there was a decree that passed on by King Darius, people of King Darius actually, to worship only King Darius, and those who disobey this law will be thrown into the lion's den. But this is what happened. Daniel heard that the decree was passed. When Daniel learned that the law to worship King Darius only had been signed, he went home and knelt down as usual in his upstairs room with the windows open towards Jerusalem. He prayed 3 times a day, just as he had always done, giving thanks to his God. Wait a minute. There is a decree that passed by King Darius and his cohorts that you should worship King Darius alone, and if you will disobey that law, you will be thrown to the lion's den. That you are giving thanks to your God. Can't you understand, Daniel, that your life is in great trouble because if you will not bow down to Darius, you will be thrown to the lion's den? But Daniel said, Lord, thank you. Thank you for this decree that has passed, that we are commanded to worship King Darius. Thank you. It doesn't make sense, Daniel. But Daniel knows, and you know how the story ends. Daniel thanked God, despite the threat of being thrown or fed to the lion's den. And you know how the story ends. Yes, he did not obey the law, because he wanted to worship the only one true God of Israel. And as a result, they sent him, thrown him to the lion's den. But God, because Daniel gave thanks, God shut the mouth of the lions. God shut the mouth of the lions. And even King Darius repented and declared in the whole Babylon to worship the only true God of Israel. I don't know what kind of threats you're facing in life today. It could be a den of failure. It could be a den of discouragement, a den of separation, a den of death. Just keep thanking God. And just like Daniel, God will shut the mouth of the lions to save you from the den you are in today. Are you with me? What is our message again? Let me talk about Jehoshaphat. You know just Jehoshaphat? You know the story. Oh, you don't know. Jehoshaphat is the king of Judea in the Old Testament. There's one day, he's the 4th king of Judea in the Old Testament. One day, the Moabites, the Ammonites, and Maonites tried to attack Israel. So this is Israel. From north to east to south, they will attack Israel simultaneously. King Jehoshaphat feared for his life and the life of the whole nation. According to scholars, there is a vast armies coming all direction towards Israel, because this is already a sea, right? So they are all attacking Israel. In other words, Jehoshaphat was far outnumbered. And there is no way he would win this war. But Jehoshaphat, hearing that there are vast armies coming all the way to Jerusalem to slaughter them, Jehoshaphat was scared for his life. He ordered everyone in Judea, the whole country, to fast and pray. And one day, this is what he did. In the 2 Chronicles 20:21-23, after consulting the people, the king appointed Jehoshaphat appointed singers to walk ahead of the army. That's a weird thing to do, Jehoshaphat. What do you mean you're going to let the singers go ahead? So Israel, Moabites, Ammonites, Reonites will attack Israel, and then you put the singer ahead of your soldiers? It doesn't make sense. Jehoshaphat knows what he's doing because he knows that there is power in. He put ahead of the army, singing to the Lord and praising Him for His holy splendor. This is what they sang. Give thanks to the Lord. His faithful love endures forever. Are you kidding me? There is a war going on. You are outnumbered, but you keep praising God and singing that give thanks to the Lord for His faithfulness endures forever. It doesn't make sense. Jehoshaphat. But he believes that there is power in thanksgiving. And this is what happened at the very moment while they were singing and the army behind the singers are getting ready to fight for the rest of these people. He said, at the very moment they began to sing and give praise, the Lord caused the armies of Ammonites, Moabites, and Mount Seir to start fighting among themselves. The armies of Moab and Ammon turned against their allies from Mount Seir and killed every one of them, and they had destroyed the army of Seir. They began attacking each other. When the Israelites get into the area where they would fight, they're all dead. Jesus or God gave them the victory. I don't know. What kind of war are you fighting today? Or you are fighting today? It could be a war of addiction. It could be a war of depression. It could be a war of rejection. There are 3 armies fighting against Jehoshaphat. 3 against 1. I don't know the kind of war you are fighting today. But one thing I know, just keep thanking God. And just like Jehoshaphat, God will help you defeat all your enemies. What is our message? There is in. Are you getting the point now? Let me talk about Jesus. You know the story now, right? Jesus knew that the hour has come. Jesus knew that He will be persecuted and become a sacrifice for all our sins. Jesus knew that He will go through a very excruciating pain. But on the Last Supper, along with His disciples, hours before His arrest, this is what He said. Jesus took the bread. And He is referring to the bread as His body. He knows clearly. Jesus is the creator of heaven and earth. He knows the beginning and the end. He knows that He will be arrested a few hours from now. He will be persecuted. He will be tortured. He will be hung on the cross. He will die in excruciating pain. He knows that His own best friend will deny Him, will reject Him, will betray Him, and all the disciples will disown Him. Only one is left. Yet He said, I took this bread and I give thanks. And broke it and gave it to them, saying, this is my body given for you. And he already preempted His disciples. Whenever you drink this cup and eat this bread, do this in remembrance of me. He knows that He'll die very soon. Yet He said, I give thanks. I give thanks. He will go through a very excruciating pain. He will be hung on the cross and experience the worst death in human history. The rejection, the persecution, the crucifixion, yet Jesus gave thanks. And you know what happened? 3 days after, Jesus conquered death. He knows. that there is power in thanksgiving. I don't know what kind of challenges you are facing today. One thing I know, just keep thanking God. And just like Jesus, He will help you conquer your fear and your problems. What is our message? There is and if there's one thing that I want you to remember from this message, folks, what is that? Can you say it again? If there's one thing that I want you to remember from this message, there is. You know what? By default, human as we are unthankful. By default, we tend to look at the negative first. Now, check yourself. By default, oh, I heard that someone is giving you an iPhone. Oh, I hope it's 16 Pro Max. Hello. Someone's giving you iPhone. Doesn't matter what. I hope that, someone is giving you a car. Oh, I hope it's red or else. Someone's giving you a car. By default, our brain is trained that way. We tend to focus on the negative. When I would ask Barry, can you play a key of G? He would, automatically play key of G. He will not think about it. Because by default, he knows that that's a key of G. And that's our default too. When dealing with circumstances, we're dealing with people, we tend to look at the negative of people. Look at her. But look at her hair, her makeup. Come on, just appreciate the person. He's tall, but he smells bad. What? Just appreciate the person, right? We tend to be negative in the situation we're in. By default, our brain is trained that way. By default, we are unthankful. And as a result, we experience the negative effect of unthankful heart. We tend to complain and grumble about the situation we are in. We tend to complain about the problems that we're facing. And then we tend to be discouraged and dissatisfied of whatever we're receiving. We tend to be entitled. I deserve more because I've been doing this and that. I deserve more. We can become entitled and greedy and never get satisfied. We become unhealthy because of unthankful heart. We have an unhealthy mind and body, and there are more negative effects of being unthankful. And most of those are root of all sins. And actually, the Bible talk about this. Look at this. They knew God, like you and me, and all people, majority of the world probably, they knew God. They understand God. They probably, I heard about God. But they did not praise and thank Him for being God. Now, there are two different things here. Praising God is talking about who God is. His character, what He's capable to do. Thanking God is what God has done. Praising God is thanking Him for who He is. Thanking God is thanking Him for what He has done. Many people know God, but because of their default unthankful heart, they will not praise and thank God for being God, and they began to think up foolish ideas about who God is and was like. As a result, their mind became dark and confused. That's interesting to know. That we, as human, we tend to be unthankful. And that is our default. And that's why we miss the power of thanksgiving. We have to counter this default. We have to intentionally train our brain to be thankful, or else we will experience all these things. We have to intentionally train our brain not to thank God so that we will not experience this result. Rather, we will experience the positive effect of having a thankful heart. If you intentionally practice continuously practice, regularly practice thanksgiving, you will experience the positive effects in your life. There will be a happier you. Increased self-satisfaction, and you will enhance your mood. You will have a positive emotion. Your mind will be always positive. You will be more happier. You will be more aware of the situation and awake. You will be more thankful. Oh Lord, why these things happen to me? Oh, thank you, God. Thank you. I'm happy. There will be a better you. You will have a strong interpersonal relationship, a better communication with people. There will be more involvement as a team member, more likability among the groups. People will like you. Think about this. Do you like to be with someone who's so negative? No. Do you want to be with someone who is positive? Yes. The more people will like you, the more people will love you, the more people will be going and joining you, and you will be a magnet. There will be a better you, and there will be a fitter you. You'll be stronger. You'll have a strong immune system. Less body pain, less body aches, right? Look at yourself now. That's me. I've been sick for 2 weeks already. I don't know what happened. But I'm thankful. It's just stress because I don't have enough sleep. But if you have a thankful heart, you will have an optimum blood pressure and cardiac functioning. No high blood, okay? You will have a better sleep. You will have a beautiful skin, like flawless skin. You will have a sleep, wake up cycle better. There will be a fitter you. And more and more and more benefits of having a positive mindset, a thankful heart. We have to counter our natural instinct of being unthankful. What is our message? Now, let me go back to King. So 2 Sundays ago, I called Ellen. And just like what I said earlier, understandably, she was discouraged, they were discouraged and confused. The following day, the Fabregas went to visit them. And then that afternoon, Ron and I, along with the Aguilars, went to visit them. And I asked, along our conversation, I asked them this question. Did you ever question God? Why did these things happen to you? Ellen said, no, Pas. We don't know why, but we know God has a purpose. And even Ellen jokingly said that maybe God wanted King to take a rest for a while and have a break for a while. That's why God allowed these things to happen. Then King, lying down there, he said, you know what, Pas? I'm still very thankful. Oh, wait a minute. Man, you're lying down. You can't even sit. You can't even walk. You have 2 little boys, and you're the one supposed to be working full time. What are you talking? I'm still very thankful. I said, why, King? Why? He said, because God spared my life. I really thought I'd lose my life that afternoon. Well, I was stuck there for almost 10 minutes. But He made me live. And then he continually sharing his experience. The EMS came. This guy is a joker. He said, I only see this in Netflix. Now I am the main character. The EMS came and then they rescued me. They do some first aid and then they drove me to I'm part of the movie now. We went to emergency and then in the emergency, Pas, I'm just so thankful because All the white ladies there, they cut my pants, and then they, oh, I don't have time to be shy anymore. Oh, okay, you see me, everything now, but I'm so thankful because they've been doing all the things necessary to do and gave me everything I needed without asking a single penny. What a perspective. And he said, in the Philippines? Sir, how do you want to pay this? Sir, I'll give you pain reliever. How much money do you have? Yeah? They will ask you every procedure they will do. But King, I said, what? They transferred me to U of A and got me operated. And now, Pas, it's done. I'm waiting for a slot at a rehab center for me to rehab myself. God is good. His love endures forever. When we left the hospital, I was so amazed for King's perspective. He thanked God despite his current situation. Look at that guy. He's smiling. He's playing with the rose, bougainvillea, no? And just like Paul, Jonah, Daniel, Jehoshaphat, and Jesus, God helped him recover so fast. In less than 2 weeks, he was able to sit. Less than 2 weeks, he was able to stand and walk. If you've seen his operation, the doctor cut here and remove here and fix his dislocated hip, pelvis. I said, King, oh, that's huge, King. And he said, oh, Pas, I don't want to give birth again. It's cesarean. What? Why are you joking, man? They cut the cesarean. They will just cut a little piece, but now they cut me here. He joked around. God did not only help him recover, but God also provided for their needs. Their life group helped together to support King and Ellen. They take turns on taking care of the two boys. And that's what life group is all about. And if you don't have a life group, I really encourage you to be part of a life group. But because that's family. The two little boys, okay, don't worry, we'll take care of them. And then some of them, okay, we will cook for you. Okay, here and there, we will be there just to help you. What are your needs? I can read all their Aticora, wow, all the updates like a newspaper. King is now, wow. Oh, everyone would just helping one another. That is a life group, a family. And that is what this church is all about. So if you don't have a life group, I'm telling you, you're missing that part. And one day, I went home, I said, I remember Glenn's wife is one of the guidance counselor and the social worker of Northquest. So I called Glenn, can you, there's this situation, we have a church member, can you help, can you ask Irene? And then Glenn said, oh, Irene said she can help. So Rowan called Irene, talked with Irene. Irene, here's the situation. Okay, she got her number. Irene talked with Ellen, and then Irene applied for emergency funds, which already approved to support them because of the lost income. Can you imagine that? Because of the mindset of King, I thank God. I may be in this situation, but I thank God. There is power in Thanksgiving. 2 days ago, Dr. Ferdy Gamboa, Kuya Ferdy Gamboa, Tilili, Tway, they again visited Kim, and then Kuya Ferdy shared with me this morning. He said that when we visited King, King said to me, once I can function well, Kuya, I will start serving God. And he said, maybe God allowed this thing to happen to call my attention to serve Him. What is your message? I think I've communicated already, right? But let me put the cherry in that ice cream I've shared. Thanksgiving is two words, thanks and giving. Thanks was mentioned more than 130 times in the Bible. 74 times of those 130 plus times, giving was associated to the word thanks. So 50% of the word thanksgiving is referred to giving. So while Ellen was there, Roan, the Aguilars, me, King. While I was looking at King, enjoying his story and all his joke, despite his situation, God told me to give King financial support. I'm not sharing this to brag you, but I'm sharing this to share you something. Jeff, empty your pocket. Oh, come on, Lord. Empty my wallet, my pocket. Yes, they need prayers, but they also need financial support. Empty your pocket. I said, Lord, I also need financial support. My wife's mom, my mother-in-law, is ongoing chemotherapy, and it's $100,000 pesos in the Philippines per cycle. I said, Lord, but of course, I want to obey God. Thanksgiving. So after I prayed, we prayed for King. I stepped back, emptied my pocket, took all the cash I have. Then I handed it to King, and he was crying there. Oh, Pas, no. Oh, no. God told me to give that to you. We went home with an empty wallet. I was driving, wow, he's talking to them. I like his perspective. I like his spirit and all. During that evening, I thank God. I said, Lord, thank you that my wallet is now empty. Wait. I said, God, thank you for the opportunity to help. The following day, I was a little bit under the weather. So I was supposed to go to my office, but I stayed home. The following day, someone doorbell to our house. I'm saying, who's this? Unexpected visitor. I opened the door. The person just handed me an envelope and walked away right away. Pass, boom, then walk away. The following day, I was like, hey, what's this? And that person said, for you. What's this? Okay, that's it. Then that person drove right away. And when I opened the envelope, it was times 3 of what I gave to King. And right there, I said, sweetie, send this to mommy for her chemotherapy. There is power in Thanksgiving. I don't know what challenges you are facing today. I don't know the problems you are trying to solve today. I don't know the battles that you are fighting today. One thing I know, just keep thanking God. In good times and in bad times. And just like how He helped Paul open the prison door, break the chains and set him free. Just like how He commanded the fish to spit Jonah on the shore. Just like how He shut the lion's mouth in the lion's den to save Daniel. Just like how He fought for Jehoshaphat over 3 enemies. Just like how Jesus conquered death. He will also deliver you and will set you free. Just keep giving thanks to Him. What is our message? Happy Thanksgiving to all of you.